Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Transfer Daily on the Football Insider, where we give you the latest updates on the transfer window as it gets ever busy, closer to pre-season and closer to the main campaign getting started. And of course, teams are frantically trying to strengthen their squads to make sure they get in the right players and the players get bedded in before a busy schedule ahead. But without further ado, let's get straight in to the transfers, and we're going to start off with Aston Villa. Now, of course, Aston Villa have had a wonderful start to this transfer window, already bringing in Pau Torres from Villarreal. Of course, Emery was more than familiar with the defender as he was managing the club when Villarreal won Europa League, and Pau Torres played a major part in helping his side to win their first ever European trophy, of course. And then after that, they bring in Youri Tielemans from Leicester City. Of course, Youri Tielemans was a free transfer for the Villains, and he was able to come into Villa Park and he'll slot straight in the midfielder after having years of Premier League experience. So a great time to be a Villa fan. Of course, they qualified for the European Conference League for next season and will look to push further. And the way they can push further is by signing Moussa Diaby from Bayer Leverkusen. And now, of course, it was reported on Thursday evening that Bayer Leverkusen has rejected the initial bid from Aston Villa, believed to be around the £35 million mark. And the German side are holding out for more. Of course, Villa looking to strengthen in the wing positions, with Leon Bailey really being their only and main winger. So again, Moussa Diaby could be a major signing for Villa, of course. And again, Villa is not the only club interested in the winger, as is also been reported by sources that Saudi Arabia could come in and swoop for the winger. Of course, the players moving to Saudi has been a regular theme in this transfer window, and Aston Villa could lose out to the Saudis as they are also reportedly interested in the flying French winger. Of course, Moussa Diaby came from the academy at PSG, made a few appearances, and then moved to Germany in the Bundesliga, where he's been able to shine. But Newcastle haven't been the only club linked to Moussa Diaby in recent years, as Arsenal were also incredibly linked to him in the last January transfer window before they decided to sign Leandro Trossard. So again, Newcastle is also another club who has been heavily linked to Moussa Diaby. But of course, it looks like they are going to sign Harvey Barnes, so that might put them out of the race. But we shall see what goes on instead, as Moussa Diaby could become an Aston Villa player in this transfer window. What a statement signing would be for Unai Emery. But again, that is waited to be seen, as Moussa Diaby race is set to go on possibly to the end of the transfer window, as it will not be an easy signing for Unai Emery. And if they don't sign Moussa Diaby, then another player they could sign is Wilfred Gnonto from Leeds. Now, of course, Wilfred Gnonto has been heavily linked with a move away from Leeds. Of course, once a club gets relegated, it's very usual for your stars to get sold on, and Leeds will be forced to do that with Wilfred Gnonto. According to sources from us at Football Insider, Leeds are willing to sell Wilfred Gnonto. They know they can't keep up onto him, and they will only be willing to let him go on a permanent deal, as he does not have a relegation release clause in his contract, meaning Leeds can demand however money they feel they want. And apparently that is going to be helpful for Villa, as Villa are also battling with Everton. Everton, they do have financial restrictions, so they might struggle to get a deal over the line. So it'll be interesting to see Wilfred Gnonto's future. Again, Aston Villa, they are willing also to bring in two wingers, so they could bring in both Moussa Diaby and Wilfred Gnonto ahead of next season to help with Leon Bailey on the wing position. So watch out for Wilfred Gnonto, as it's not just Premier League clubs either. There is, of course, interest on Crystal Palace, with Sohar also leaving the Eagles. So watch out for Crystal Palace's interest in Wilfred Gnonto. But there's also interest from abroad, of course, especially from Italy now. Of course, with Wilfred Gnonto being an Italian international, it would almost make sense that he does also play in the Serie A. So the race for Wilfred Gnonto continues, as Aston Villa are looking to strengthen in the wide areas. Now let's move on to the Championship. Let's go on to Southampton now, because Southampton, of course, they're another club just like Leeds. They need to sell their stars, and one star that looks like to be on his way is Mohamed Salisu, as he is going to join Monaco. It looks like, as Monaco has submitted their first offer. Now, of course, Monaco, the Ligue 1, they're former Ligue 1 champions, of course. They're a major team in France. It would be a step up for Salisu, who struggled, of course, towards the end of last season as he fell out of favour with the Saints. And it now looks like a move could be on his side. And Monaco are really bringing in Salisu as they look to replace potential Axel Disasi. Of course, Axel Disasi played for France in the World Cup in 2022. He played a major part for the French side. But again, this is because Manchester United and Everton are said to be interested in bringing in the Frenchman. Of course, the youngster had the breakthrough season at Monaco, and this persuaded the Champs to call him up to the first team for France and get his first World Cup taste. So he does have work experience under his belt. Of course, at Manchester United, they already have we've got experience in the centre halves in Rafael Varane and Lisandro Martinez, who have both won World Cups. So it'll be interesting to see if Disasi does decide to join Manchester United. Of course, reports outside of Football Insider have said that Newcastle were another club to be interested in. According to Football Transfers, Newcastle have agreed personal terms with the defender. So it'll be interesting to see if Axel Disasi does make the move to the Premier League. But there are 3 clubs said to be interested in the defender. So the race will continue for him. We shall see what goes on there. Of course, sticking to Newcastle, of course, Harvey Barnes is expected to be announced as a Newcastle player. Of course, James Maddison already left Leicester. Yuri Tillemans left on a free transfer. Now, the other big players, almost the big 3, would you like to call it, Harvey Barnes is likely to make the move to the Magpies. Of course, Harvey Barnes means that he will be moving from the Championship to Champions League football, which is a major move up for him. And Newcastle are looking to get a deal done for around the £30 million mark. So a big deal for the Magpies, of course. And moving on now, let's go on to Arsenal. And Declan Rice, Arsenal fans have been worried about a deal. It was almost agreed a couple of weeks ago. It was announced that it would be a £105 million deal, but there's not been an official announcement. However, this looks set to change, as according to Sky Sports and other sources. The paperwork for Declan Rice to become an Arsenal player is set to happen today on Friday. So Declan Rice will be an Arsenal player, and Arsenal fans do not have to worry. Of course, Declan Rice is set to break the British transfer record fee after Jude Bellingham had already broken it with £403 million earlier in the window. But Declan Rice is set to eclipse that, and he will become an Arsenal player. Of course, Jurriën Timber also set to be announced as an Arsenal player as well. So a big week ahead for Arsenal in terms of announcements. Of course, they already got Kai Havertz over the line, and of course, William Saliba signed his deal. So Arsenal on the way up as they're getting a lot of deals over the line. I'm sure that will lead to a lot of outgoings as well. Of Kieran Tierney set to be linked with a move away. I know Newcastle are interested in him, of course, according to Football Insider. Tierney did hold crunch talks with Arteta last Friday, so you'll also be interested to see what the outcome is. That is, will Kieran Tierney stay or will he leave? That is still to remain as unseen. And of course, finally, let's go on to a really major transfer that could happen. It is that, according to French source Le Parisien, Neymar could be reunited with Pochettino at Chelsea, and Pochettino wants the deal done, of course. Neymar's good friend in Lionel Messi has already made the move to Inter Miami, of course. So Neymar could be the next out of the door. Of course, Kylian Mbappe also has been linked with a move away. Of course, Arsenal were said to be a topic of interest for Mbappe, but of course, Real Madrid has always been the main club. So Mbappe could stay, while Neymar could actually leave, of course. And it'll be interesting because PSG have already brought in the striker from Valencia, and they've also brought in Marco Asensio for Real Madrid. So they are more than well stacked in that position. So again, watch out for Neymar to PSG potentially, but we shall see what happens on that front. But guys, that is the end of the video for now. That is the transfer wrap up. Of course, every day we'll bring you more transfer news as the transfers start to ramp up and more deals start to get over the line. We will be here at Football Insider to give you the best news, especially on Transfer Daily. So make sure to subscribe to the channel as more videos will be coming and more transfers will be coming shortly. This has been Bailey Keogh. Thank you very much for tuning in.